Okay, so back at this again. I wonder how much money we spend on these cars and maintenance and everything else, if there's a better way to do it. I run a business, so finding shortcuts, not even really shortcuts, but just better ways to not waste money, I guess you would say. Well, that's kind of interesting. I guess those are lights, little strobe lights. So, as long as yours to Dallas was probably 50. Oh no, nice to. I guess they're giving reports in there. CCPD funded. I don't know what that is. I will say, because I've had plenty of experience with the police, because you know, I was one of those hardheads that was rebelling against something in this world, and I didn't exactly know what I was rebelling against, and I took the wrong way about rebelling. I started doing things that affected other people, robbing, stealing, lying. I was causing harm, and I got in trouble for that, and I hold no ill will because of that. I made bad decisions. I didn't know who my enemy was or who I was fighting, so I didn't know how to fight it. There's a Chinese philosopher, and I can't say what his name was, I can't think of it, but he says, if you know your enemy, or let's put it this way, if you don't know your enemy or how to fight them, you will lose every battle. Once again, if you don't know your enemy or how to fight them, you will lose every battle. If you know your enemy but don't know how to fight them, you will win some battles, but you will lose the war. And then finally, if you know your enemy and you know how to fight them, you'll win every battle and war. So as a youth, I honestly, I wonder if they're doing that for my accord. I didn't know who I was fighting, and what I found that is that in the definition of Satan in the dictionary, it means adversary. Plain and simple, adversary. So then you got to question, who is your adversary in this world? Well, at the present moment, it seems like it's government in all forms, whether it be police, school, courts. It's at many levels, and you know, your first instinct, I guess, coming out of the womb is you know something's wrong, but you don't know who your enemy is or who you're fighting. So you go about it the wrong way, and or at least I did anyway. I wasn't smart enough, and nobody else was trying to educate me on it. So I think I found out who the enemy is. It's the government in all its tyrannical forms, because they're the only ones that have the power to use force against you. And even if you're not actually hurting someone, you can still be considered a criminal. And that's what I would like to see change, is all the victimless crimes. Let's handle that a different way. No reason to use force against people like that. Now, there are truly some bad actors out there, and that they do harm to others. And I think that's what our police should be used for. I don't think they should be pulling us over, infringing on our right to travel, and writing us tickets. I think they should be there to truly serve us, and not like a Happy Meal. And I think the disconnect with the public and the police would go away instantly overnight. We have the social networking at this point. If somebody's doing something wrong to where they actually are harming another, that we can identify those people and then use the police in those instances. Because if you're a hammer, everything becomes a nail. And it looks like that's what's happening in the country today. And that the trust that we put out there has been misused, and that there is corruption and abuse of power, because with absolute power comes absolute corruption. It absolutely corrupts anytime. You can see it. There's numerous examples throughout history, and that's what I want to see change. I want to see this country come back to the freedom that it once known, and being unmolested in your travels, in your person. And you know, the biggest thing for me is the home. You know, they call it forfeiture when they take your home from you, but it's a seizure. If you're not agreeing to it, then they're taking it. And the basic building blocks for a family is to be secure in their home and in their person. And it's not what we're seeing in our country nowadays. And I believe the police are just really in the middle of it all. The politicians above them are the ones that write the laws that infringe upon the public. And there are good cops as well as bad cops. It's like anything. And I hear the phrase, you know, it's just a few bad apples. But if you use that phrase, then you know the other phrase that a few bad apples can ruin the whole bunch. And police will not step over their own blue line to turn in bad cops. It's a brotherhood, and they look out for one another instead of the public. And this is what I'd like to see change. And you know, we probably wouldn't need all of this money out here in police cars to just sit, you know. There's a lot of waste, and we wonder why we're trillions of dollars in the red, you know. Most people don't even realize that most of the money that we owe to ourselves. A third of the debt is Social Security. Another third of the debt is owned by Americans themselves. So really only a third of it is actual debt. And you know, if I had to run my business like most of these government organizations, I would be out of business. And just, you know, if things aren't getting better with the actions that they take, let's take tickets, for example. They write just as many tickets every month as they normally do. But yet it's not making anything better. So that system's not working. We need to get rid of it and think up another system that works. And realistically stop criminalizing people who are doing no harm to others. Anytime that they do harm to others, yes, let's fix them. But otherwise, let's not make criminals out of people. The war on drugs. The war on drugs is a failed war. It was never meant to win anything. It was about control. And this is the idea that we will arrest these people for doing drugs to save them from their own lives. And in the process, we may beat you up, kidnap you, and throw you in a cage where you get raped and beat up some more. But this is all in the guise to save you. If somebody wants to ruin their lives by doing drugs, let them. Let them. You take the criminal element out of it when you don't make it illegal. People are going to do what they do. I was hooked on drugs, and I had to go through that process because it was a learning lesson to me, and I paid my price for it, which I probably shouldn't have had to, because it made me even more resentful. And the thing about it was I was robbing and stealing, so I definitely I needed to be taken off the streets at that point because I was doing harm to others. And that's what every cop really signs up to do, is they sign up to do harm to others, because you know you're going to have to in the event of your duties. And what really bothers me is when somebody's doing no harm and they still get it. When they're doing no harm to others, and I'm hoping, and by doing this and having these discussions, that we can open up a discussion and show them that what they're doing is wrong. Because anytime that you hurt somebody, it doesn't matter if you have the authority to, because in the Bible it says we don't fight against flesh and blood, we fight against spirits, principalities, and authority. And who else is the authority but the police? Now, I gotta say, everybody here, nobody's giving me a hard time. I think they did it kind of nonchalantly. Maybe they're just checking their sirens and stuff. But as I was trying to do my speech, it seemed like it was convenient. But that's petty, so I'm gonna sweat that as long as they're not, bothering me and my person, since I'm doing nothing wrong. And like I said, I have dealt with a lot of the Fort Worth cops over the years. Some of them have been good, some of them have been bad, but they're always there to incriminate you. So it's always best never to say nothing to them, because of that. That's their job, They're and there's a million laws. You could be breaking a law and just not even know it. Especially the victimless ones. If you're harming somebody, though, you're harming somebody, and that's wrong. Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Oh man, beautiful day. Doing a little documentary for myself. But it seems like there's definitely got to be a better way, where they're not using force against people unless it really calls for it. And I think that's the dividing line. Is most of the time it doesn't really call for it. So I'm gonna give these guys a pass so far, because nobody's went out of their way to be an asshole. Everybody's actually been cordial so far. And we got one behind us right here. I'm gonna see if he follows me. Maybe he's just going to park. So anyway, hadn't been here real long, but nobody messing with me, so I'm gonna say they're doing a good job. Wow, what is that? It sounds like somebody's drilling through there. Okay, so I'm gonna end it with that. God bless all of y'all. Much love to everybody, and especially all the First Amendment auditors out there who are doing their part in the checks and balances that we need to have in America today, because the police state has gotten out of control. They've even got their own flag. If you notice, it's the American flag with the blue line. That to me tells me that they are the new Confederacy or whatever, and that they're in control and don't cross their blue line to get back to America, and that they should take that down and reject it in all forms. So once again, God bless everybody. I love you all. Peace and harmony to everybody. Let's pray on it. Let's keep this world going in the right direction for our children.